All right. So we're going to continue our lesson that we began yesterday on the landlady. So let's get the landlady, some of the things that we said yesterday back in our minds. So first of all, where is the landlady sit? What did I tell you yesterday about where the landlady sit? Everybody remember? Okay, Skylar, I saw your hand first. Bath. There you go. Bath, or we said they would pronounce it how? Bath. You're close though, Skylar. Okay, now what country is Bath in, Jacob? England. Okay, so it's not American, it's British. And let me click back to some of the pictures that we looked at yesterday. Okay, so this was our picture of the setting of Bath. Does anybody remember where Bath got its name? What it's known for? Okay, Sawyer?
The water?
Yes, the healing waters that people would go to Bath on vacations and soak to help their aches and pains and rheumatism. Okay, so let's move on from our setting that we established yesterday. Let me ask you, first of all, let's go over what we're hoping to learn from this unit. So, after we interact with the landlady, you will be able to draw conclusions about what kind of people Billy and the landlady are. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Point to lines from the story to support your feelings. So we always need to have a reason for whatever we're feeling. Can you support it with specific things from the story? Explain how Billy and the landlady's conversation shape your opinion of them. So when you listen to people talk, don't you make judgments about them based on what you hear them say? Yes, we do. What if you see somebody being friends with Jacob to his face, and then as soon as Jacob walks away, they start saying bad things about him, right? That doesn't reflect so much poorly on Jacob as it reflects poorly on who? The person who's doing the gossiping and being two-faced. Y'all know what it means to be two-faced, right? That's not a good character trait, is it? Okay? So we're thinking about that. Explain how Billy and the landlady's conversation shape your opinion of them. And then, lastly, you'll be able to explain a lesson about life that readers can learn from Billy's experience. Okay? So those are our goals for this lesson. We also have essential questions or our lesson focus. All right, let's think about these questions. What helps you decide if a person you just met is a good person? Now, I want you to actually record your feelings about that. So, at the bottom of your anticipation guide, just what are your first thoughts on that first question? So, put focus. Okay, you can just write the word focus. And then record your thoughts about the first essential question. What helps you decide if a person you just met is a good person? Okay, record your thoughts on that. Just a minute. Okay, go ahead and look at the second question. You can just write a sentence. You don't have to write a paragraph at this point, just thinking. Okay, our second focus question, what good is your intuition? Have you heard the word intuition before? Here's a synonym for intuition. Have you ever heard gut instinct? What's your gut? What's your feeling about somebody when you first meet them? What vibe are they giving you? You know, vibes are important. So that is your intuition. It's instinctual in your feelings. So what good is your intuition when you meet someone new? What good is your intuition, your gut instinct, when you meet someone new? Why do you have that feeling at all? For good or for ill? let's go on to the third one briefly. If you decide that someone is a bad person, how do you convince others that they're a bad person? I mean, and you're serious. You're not just gossiping about them. You're not just trying to run them down because you don't like them for some reason. What do you do? What do you do to convince others that you're right and they are bad? What can you use as evidence, in other words? Okay, now that you've had time to reflect on your own thoughts, now I want you to turn to your elbow buddy, so build some confidence. Compare your thoughts on those three little questions and see if you're thinking along the same lines. So go ahead and discuss those. Jacob's eyes are looking real big, like, what? So did you have similar thoughts? Sorta, kinda? Yes. Okay, all right. So let's share just a little bit about each one. So what helps you decide if the person you just met is a good person? What helps you decide? Thank you, Emily.
How they act.
How they act. And what is a good thing? What would be a good action? How about you meet them and they actually smile at you sincerely, and they say, hello, my name is so-and-so, right? So that would be a good thing. But what could they do that would make you think they're not so good? What makes you think they're bad? Braden? They avoid you, they won't look at you. They just kind of look, menacingly at you? Okay. What if they don't say a word? What if they don't do anything? Don't you get a sense of somebody even if they don't say anything? What do we judge people on? How they look. How they look. Do they look crazy? Right? Is their hair all wild? Do they look unclean? Do they look wild-eyed? All those kinds of things. Okay? So you decide based on their actions. You got that right? Emily said that. And you decide that based on how they look. Okay? All right, very good. So what good is your intuition when you meet someone new? Again, your intuition is just the warning feeling that comes to you about somebody, that something just... Think about how you feel when you're staying at a place that has an elevator. And the elevator door opens that you're planning on getting in, and somebody's standing in there, a stranger, and you're by yourself, and that person is by themselves, and you make a quick judgment right there, don't you? Do I want to get in that little box with that person? Your gut instinct tells you whether to get on in there or not, right? We do. We have to make a split decision. And it's your gut instinct that's telling you whether or not to get in there. All right? So your gut instinct is telling you whether a person is safe to be around or not. And if you do decide, number 3, that someone is a bad person, how do you convince others that you're right? So what do you say about them when you tell others that they're not good? What'd you say, Dalton?
Tell them to go look for themselves.
Go look for themselves. Go see with your own eyes what I'm talking about. Go observe them.
Tell them some of the stuff that they have done.
Tell them some of the stuff that they have done. Again, Emily's coming back to their actions. Watch them. Watch their actions. Okay? Okay? All right? Okay, so you did a good job on our essential questions, our lesson focus. let's put that into practice. I do have a little, before we get to the landlady, check this out. Wow. So this is a page from another Roald Dahl children's book. Same guy who wrote The Landlady, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, The Big Friendly Giant. We talked about all those yesterday. He also wrote a story called The Twits. If you call somebody a twit, are you giving them a compliment? Probably not. No, you're not. So this couple, there's a married couple, and their last name is Twit. The Twits. And this is the illustration, and this is a page from the book. I hope you can see it okay back there. But let's look at it. If a person has ugly thoughts, it begins to show on the face. Remember, we're talking about judging people based on their appearance. So if a person has ugly thoughts, it begins to show on the face. And when that person has ugly thoughts every day, every week, every year, the face gets uglier and uglier until it gets so ugly you can hardly bear to look at it. So this is supposed to represent the evolution of one person because of their ugly thoughts. Okay? Just focusing on the negative and the ugly. So it begins to show. Okay? It says. And then let's see what else we have. A contrast to the ugly thoughts. Look at that. Look at this illustration. Now look. Hold on. I know it's odd. It's quirky. It's Roald Dahl. Look at this person. Your gut instinct would tell you, ooh, mean, looks mean, because their inside is ugly. They have ugly thoughts. But look here. Now, even though you wouldn't describe her as pretty, she doesn't look mean, does she? So let's see what Roald Dahl says about her. Again, making judgments based on the way someone looks. A person who has good thoughts cannot ever be ugly. And you can have a wonky nose and a crooked mouth. Are these her teeth? And a double chin and stick out teeth. But if you have good thoughts, they will shine out of your face like sunbeams. And you will always look lovely. Okay, now at first, you all are giggling at her, but she's approachable. I wouldn't be scared to go up and talk to her. She looks like she would be kind. She has a smile on her face, and she looks friendly. But again, that comes from the inside out. All right? So, what I want you to do is go ahead and open your books. You're already there, page 71. We need to actually get into the story of the landlady. So on your anticipation guide, the first one is from the very first paragraph of the story. Some of you maybe already had a chance to read it. It's actually on page 72. So from that very first paragraph, you had the first sentence from your anticipation guide. And so let's hear from you whether you thought it was positive or negative. The moon was coming up out of a clear starry sky over the houses, but the air was deadly cold and the wind was like a flat blade of ice on his cheeks. How many of you put that was positive? I don't see any positive. Okay. So all of you put that it was negative? So what words in there made you get a negative sense? Scholar? Deadly. The author didn't have to describe the air as deadly. He chose that word for a reason, didn't he? He wanted you to get your gut instinct to tell you, ooh, this might not be so good. Okay.